Hello, my name is Natalie. This is my very first video. If you would like to watch my transformation from no makeup to this, then stay tuned. I will leave key product details in the comments, or rather in the drop down, whatever. This is my first video. I'm not sure how to do any of this. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out together. I hope you enjoy, and if you do, feel free to like and subscribe. I'll probably be doing a lot of similar videos. Thanks for watching. Okay, let's do it. Let's do some makeup. My idea was to use the Trixie Cosmetics Horse Girl palette because I've been using it in a panning challenge, the deck of panning. I'll leave some details on that below. I'm really wanting to use this teal color right here. I might also use this. This is like a ColourPop quad from like a million years ago. Okay, first things first, I gotta do my brows. I may fast forward through this because it is boring. Brows are pretty much done. My brows are really thin and uneven because I was a teenager in the late 90s and that skinny brow thing was happening, as we all know. Seems to be happening again, but I will not be joining this time. Eyeshadow primer potion doohickey. At this point, I feel like if you're not using an eyeshadow base or primer, eyeshadow primer, whatever, what are you even doing with your life? Like, do you want your makeup to look good? Because I do. I spend a lot of time on it. Entirely too much. Can you see it? It's that Mario Badescu. This lip mask, it's like the acai and vanilla one. Love it. It's the only thing from that brand that I enjoy. Really been enjoying these two new ones from, or rather, they're new to me. They're not actually new, but they're from VIEVE. If you know who Jamie Genevieve is, then you know. If you don't know who Jamie Genevieve is, you should immediately stop watching this video and you should go. I'll link her channel. She's great. I'm gonna start with this Rose and Ben. This is the E28. And I'm also gonna start with this shade in this stupid little quad. As most of you can probably tell, I have very hooded eyes. I will be 39 this year, but regardless to my age, my eyes have always been a bit hooded. It's part of the reason why I do my eyebrows like this, because I do the tail of my brow up as opposed to how it normally comes down, which is, or comes in, which is down, to give me some more eyelid space because I don't really have very much, but it's okay. Okay, so I just put that kind of like warm light brown through the crease and on the outside corner. I'm not gonna do a cut crease. I think everybody with hooded eyes, it's again one of these, like, if you know, you know. A cut crease is just, at some point you kind of almost have to accept, with a certain level of hood on your eye, you're never gonna be able to do a cut crease. I hate to say you're never gonna be able. Nobody likes absolutes. Never say never. Blah de blah. Now I'm going in with Cult Classic on the Trixie palette on the very outside corner. I'm kind of smoking it out a little bit. It took me a long time to learn, but this is a really flattering eyeshadow look for hooded eyes especially, I think, but I don't know, probably everybody. I can't really do that spotlight halo eye thing where it's like the dark in the inner and the dark on the outer and then some sort of shimmery bright shade in the middle. Anytime I bring darker colors pretty much any farther than here inward, it just makes me look bad. I'm not a makeup artist. I've just watched a lot of YouTube. I just want to join the party. All I know is that it doesn't work for me, but what does work is doing this outside corner, just doing like a V, like that comes up as a wing would, and then into the crease, and focusing darks essentially right there, and then lights, like laundry, into the inner corner. Darks, lights. I know that's, or I've seen as much on Reddit, that's kind of annoying for some people because it's predictable. Well, guess what, bitches? You get over that. Okay. Looks a bit messy, but that's not a problem. Now, I'm gonna take, I love these little things. These are the VIEVE eye wands, and I really like them for doing, like, as a base. They're really, really good for doing like a faux cut crease. Lovely. This one's in the shade Vanilla, but she's got a whole bunch of colors. Okay, now I'm gonna take this guy. The shade is called She Biscuit. On my finger. I feel like that's the best way to do shimmers. I know some people use little brushes, spray some setting spray on it. I think that's how Jamie does it. Sometimes I'll do that. I'm also gonna take some of this shimmer from the quad. Yeah, this shimmer from the quad has a bit more punch. I'm gonna take some face powder. This is the VIEVE face powder in, I believe, light. And I'm gonna blend out the edge, like all around the brown. I feel like it is a very good technique if you are not a super strong blender. Like I said, I'm not a makeup artist. I've just been watching a lot of beauty creators for quite some time. But I think taking a powder around the shade that is at the edge, the furthest most edge, like closest to your eyebrow and the rest of your face, taking a powder on a fluffy brush and blending out those edges, it makes it less harsh, it looks more natural, but also professional, because it's clear you have makeup on. I think natural is a good way of saying it looks like someone who knew how to do this did it. So, sounds ugly, but. Okay, now, because I want to, I'm gonna take the, the shade is called High Horse. It's like High Horse. It's like a shimmery brown. And I'm actually gonna just right on the edges kind of like kiss that between the teal shimmer and the brown outer corner. Just a kiss. Just to bring them together, let them get to know each other just a little bit. I'm just doing some additional blending with a clean brush. This is another tip that I've picked up. I'm happy with this. I am going to do a brown liner. I'm going to use the VIEVE Power Ink Liner Brown, and I'm definitely going to cut this because I look a little bit unhinged when I do my liner, which is fine. I also look unhinged when I do my mascara. I'm going to cut that out too. When I come back, I'll have liner. Okay, I'm back. I'm lined. Just a little wing. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert. I'm not going to give you a tutorial. The only tips that I can offer on wing liner on hooded eyes is that you should always keep your eyes open and be looking directly into the mirror. And I think it helps to just work with the natural shape of your eye and keep in mind that you may have to do a different shape to get a wing if you have a hood. It's not necessarily going to be, you know, what you'd like to think of when you think of a wing liner. Sometimes it looks more like a triangle, and that's okay. I think that my other biggest tip as far as liner goes, winged liner, is to always take a corresponding eyeshadow. I would take, in this case I did brown, so I used this dark brown eyeshadow, and then I take this little liner brush. Everybody's got 1 to 5 of these, and I just lightly tap the eyeshadow on top of the liner and kind of like setting it. Now this of course is a liquid liner, so it dries, it's set, but I think something about doing that, A, makes it last longer, and B, it softens the edges. So if it's not as precise as you wanted it, it still looks like you did liner. Everybody can tell you did a wing line. It looks good, but it's like a filter, like a real life filter on the eyes, and on that liner will cover up any, you know, imprecise, like, oh, I don't like how it seems uneven, or this side looks whatever, or this kind of tilted up and it shouldn't be. It just, putting the powder on top is better. And then, final tip, just take a makeup wipe, or take a stabby, pointy Q-tip, put it in your mouth, put it in some water, whatever, get it wet, or just use a makeup wipe and just trace along, like underneath it, and just clean it up. Perfect. It's Labor Day weekend here. It's the last day of Labor Day weekend. I have some ribs in the oven. They're gonna be finished on the grill. Do you see this cat? His name is Ollie. We adopted him from the Humane Society, and they had picked him up as a stray, and they were just calling him Oleander, or that was what animal control had put on there. He didn't have a collar on, wasn't chipped. He was also not neutered. So they neutered him, and then they put him up on the Humane Society website, and we picked him up after he had been there for maybe 2 days. My first Siamese cat. And I just call him Ollie for short because Oleander is a bit of a but he's a sweetheart. That was a lot of non-makeup related rambling. I'm gonna take a quick break from makeuping, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna do complexion products. That's my favorite part of makeup. Okay, bye. Okay, I'm back. Complexion. I'm gonna start off with the, does that make any difference? I don't know. This is the Glossier Cloud Paint in Swept. It's one of their newer bronzer contour shades. My method for using this, I'm sure everyone does a little something different depending on your comfort, but I just take some, put it in my hand like this, and then I'm choosing to use this crescent brush today from Anissa Beauty, crescent contour brush, but any brush will work as long as it's sort of dense. And then I just take the brush and kind of work it like into my hand, get some on there, and then do it. One thing I have noticed specifically with the Glossier Cloud paints that I feel like no one else, I don't know that I've ever heard anyone else talk about this, but it should be talked about. They really don't have a huge amount of playtime. I feel like you have to blend them immediately. And a lot of, I guess, cream contours and bronzers are just more forgiving, more playtime. You can kind of keep blending them and blending them and blending them. Glossier Cloud Paint is not like this, not at all. You got about a solid 30 seconds. Once it hits your face, you've got about 30 seconds. Now I'm doing my chin contour. I don't really do a chin strap. I just go along where my natural shadows are and make them more shadowy. Okay, that's me bronzed, contoured, whatever. For blushes, I always do this a little bit. I always underpaint, but I'm gonna combine Glossier Dusk and Glossier Puff and go ahead. I'm doing the same thing using my palm. And then once I've mixed these together, it's kind of a nice like salmon-y neutral color. I'm gonna take, this is the Trixie Cosmetics. Oh, it's worn off, but it is their angled blush brush. It's my favorite. And I just tap, 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 tap. Isn't that Nikki LaRose? Isn't that what she, well, I've heard a lot of YouTube makeup ladies, MUAs, etc. say that. Okay, underpainting portion of the complexion is done. Now onto the base. I use a combo of these two sometimes. Sometimes I use other things. I have multiple base products, but I like this little concoction a lot recently. This is the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Serum Skin Tint, and this is in shade number 2. And then I love this stuff. This is the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. I have it in like 3 shades. Their color range is terrible and also very unpredictable. This is the light medium, and it somehow is like lighter than the fair or the light, but it's a pretty good match for me. I don't like full coverage. I'm older, you know, hence why I'm bringing it down my neck. I don't feel like full coverage is a good look on most people over the age of like 35-ish. Give or take, it depends. I don't know, I don't feel like full coverage is really the look on even younger people. It's like your skin is like at its best when you're younger. Why do you feel like you need to? Well, I guess that's not everybody's experience now, is it? I'm taking Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. This one, in my experience, is the only one that actually does something. This was another tip from another YouTuber, Instagram beauty guru. The spraying, basically at different intervals, spraying setting spray on your face, so not just when you're finished. When I put powder on, I want that powder to stick around, and I don't wear heavy powder, so it's never gonna look like I've powdered the house down. So I find that if I put setting spray on top of the powder, then suddenly I just look moist. Like, again, it doesn't matter what powder I use, it's my natural moisture is still going to seep through, and that's fine. I'd rather look a little bit oily than look crusty dusty. I think most women my age or older would would agree there. Crusty dusty is not the look. So I tend to not ever put any complexion products other than whatever I'm using for bronzer and contour and blush. I tend to not ever put anything other than that on these areas. I don't use foundation. I don't go over those areas with foundation or concealer. I feel like it's too much. This area of your face, it moves a lot. I don't have Botox in this area. I just have it in my forehead. So I feel like I like to keep as minimal product right here as possible, and mainly just product that is color and shimmer that is age appropriate. Shimmer that is my skin appropriate. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of concealer under my eyes. I am aware of the fact that I always look tired, and I know I have genetic dark circles. There's nothing I can do about that. But I've learned that less is more when it comes to concealer, and I think most people, I think we're all on the bandwagon now of like not doing the big triangle of concealer. That's insane. I'm not even sure how that lasted for so long. But, well, I guess when you're young, I mean, your skin can support that level of makeup and it not look terrible, but it's still just gonna look like you've got a shit ton of makeup on. Like, why, for what? But speaking of another area that moves a lot, the under eye, and this kind of common goal, this searching incessantly for a product that's not going to crease under your eye, good luck. Like, it's just not gonna happen. That area moves a lot. That's why the creases happen. The only thing that you can do is choose something that blends back in easily. So you can always just take your finger and blend it out a bit. Choose something that wears elegantly and doesn't start looking patchy, crusty, separating, and that's going to depend heavily on your skin type. And then powder sparingly. Some people use a lot of powder and some people's skin can support that. Mine can't. I do think powdering is essential to keeping some of the creasing and just longevity of makeup, like keeping some of that around. I didn't even show you my concealer. I like to use a combo of these two. This is the NYX Bear With Me concealer. Everybody knows about this. This is a baddie. And then another one that everybody knows about. This is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser. I do the same thing. I just mix these two on the back of my hand. I always mix more than I need. That wasn't even a full pump of the NYX. Just less is more with concealer. You don't need all that. And then I am using the VIEVE Modern Powder Perfector. I feel like I do like the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Finish, but the VIEVE powder, for me, for my skin, it's just better. It sticks around longer, but it doesn't also come with like the cakiness that sometimes powders that stick around longer come with. I have some other powders that have good longevity, but they tend to look much more obvious on the skin. The VIEVE Modern Powder Perfector does not. It blends right in and it wears beautifully with every other product I've ever tried it with. And as you can tell, it's much loved. Let's do some powder complexion products to accentuate the creams. Again, powdering in precise areas is key to makeup longevity and impact of the color, but you have to be mindful about it. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes more is more. Sometimes more is less. No, that doesn't work. Okay, I am using the Trixie Cosmetics Flower Power Bronzer in Darling Daisy. As you can tell, the highlighter on this one slaps, and I love it. This like middle portion, the lighter one, is great for kind of echoing the contour shape. I tend to have, I do have a pretty wide face, and so looking straight ahead, I try to contour this whole portion with shadow, with contour. Basically, I try to create a shadow there. Now, I'm not wanting my face to look dirty. There's a fine line between good contour and a muddy mess, dirty looking face. But using a slightly cooler and lighter hand with a slightly, no, using a slightly, you know what I mean. And of course we're going down the neck. Who doesn't go down the neck with their bronzer? If you don't, what are you doing with your life? Go down your neck. I can't decide which powder blush. I really want to use VIEVE Pesca. But I use VIEVE Pesca so much. It's really hilarious. I have 3 shades that are almost identical. VIEVE Pesca, then the Milani Luminoso, and then the Sephora collection Free Spirit. These are all within, like, it's the same. We're the same. Although I will say that the Sephora one has a whole lot of sparkle in it. The Luminoso tends to veer a little bit pinker than the Pesca, and the Pesca is very lightly pigmented, which I love, and there is some shimmer, very fine luminosity in this one, but it's almost unclockable. It's beautiful, whereas like the shimmer that's in this can kind of be like, boom, shimmer, you've got glitter on your face, which sometimes you want that. I think maybe I'll do this. Yeah. This thing, I've had this for years and years. I'm never gonna finish it. When I die, whoever has to deal with all my shit is gonna be like, wow. Complexion is done. I need some highlighter. I'm gonna use the highlighter in the Trixie palette. I really don't need highlighter because I'm gonna be naturally glowy. That's the term. I'm gonna be naturally glowy in about an hour. All right, that'll work. Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take some liner and I'm just gonna go kind of, I'm not in the waterline, but right on the very, like right here on each eye. And then with this little brush, I'm gonna kind of smudge it out, and then I'm going to probably use another brush, although I may use the same one, and smoke it out with this kind of caramelly brown, just very, very, very lightly, because I don't like having a bunch of heavy shit on my under eye. I feel like it drags my face down and it ages me. No one tells me what to do. I'm gonna do the same little trick with my powder, but underneath, very lightly, because you really do not want a bunch of powder under your eye. Perfect. I'm gonna do my mascara and then I'll be right back. Okay, we're back with mascara. This time I used the e.l.f. Lash and Roll in deep brown. and just building it up, I feel like it looks fine. All right, let's do a little lip real quick before my battery dies. Real quick. I'm gonna use more VIEVE stuff because I am obsessed with VIEVE. I love Jamie Genevieve. I love her. I think she is maybe my inspiration for starting this channel. This is my very first video, so I'm going in with Brat. It's the VIEVE Modern Lip Definer. Ollie was like ridiculously stretching. Okay, we'll use, this is the VIEVE Satin Slip Lipstick. I love this component. And then it has a little, oh, it's so satisfying, the magnet. But this is in the shade 90. It's the lightest shade, and I think it's beautiful if you like that kind of like classic nudie lip. This is the point at which I'm gonna do something I almost always do, which is I take a cooler liner. This is the Makeup Forever in Endless Cacao, and just very faintly trace the top and the bottom. Ollie. Let's get that out. That headband out. Okay. This is the finished look. It's like dramatic transformation, catfishing. I hope if you've watched this video that you got what you wanted to get from it. I will continue to make videos. This is mostly just for me at this point, but if you enjoyed this and you'd like to see more, of course, you already know, hit that like, hit that subscribe, all that stuff. Okay, thanks for watching. I appreciate it.